What are elected representatives in Zimbabwe? Welcome to the Civics Academy election series for Zimbabwe. In these videos, we explore different aspects of elections and why they are a central feature of democracy. In this video, we look at the role and functions of elected representatives on national, provincial, and local level of government in Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe has three types of elected representatives. 1. Elected representatives on national level. In a democracy, voters elect members of parliament, also called MPs, to represent their interests on national level. MPs provide a crucial link between government and the people. Because MPs are elected representatives, they must act in the public interest. This means that their mandates are temporary and that they are accountable to voters. Voters do not have to re-elect them if they are not good public representatives or if they do not deliver on their promises. In Zimbabwe, Parliament has two houses, or chambers, the National Assembly and the Senate. The National Assembly currently has 270 MPs, while the Senate has 80. We explain the structure and functions of Parliament in more detail in our Civics Academy for Zimbabwe video, What is the Legislature? MPs sit in Parliament as either members of a political party if they were elected on a party ticket, or as independent MPs if they were elected in their individual capacity. The roles and functions of MPs. MPs are primarily responsible for protecting the Constitution, making laws, passing the national budget, holding the executive accountable, and debating important national issues which affect the lives of the people. Their responsibilities may be classified into the following categories. Legislation. MPs debate, pass, or reject laws that are drafted by members of the executive branch of government. Occasionally, MPs also draft their own laws, called private member bills. Their key role is to ensure that the laws they pass are in line with the Constitution and will improve the lives of citizens. Representation. MPs play an important representative role by making sure that the views and interests of the people are represented and protected by government. However, the way in which an MP represents people's views depends on the electoral system. In Zimbabwe, we have an electoral system mainly based on the constituency representation system. Most of our MPs represent people living in a clearly defined geographical area called a constituency. Therefore, there is a clearly defined group of people whom the MP is supposed to consult and represent. There is a smaller group of MPs that are elected through the proportional representation system, namely senators and women PR MPs. These MPs do not represent a particular local constituency, but are expected to champion national causes or interests of certain groups across the nation, such as issues affecting women, children, persons with disabilities, etc. We explain the electoral system in detail in our video, How does the electoral system work in Zimbabwe? Constituency work. Zimbabwean MPs are required to do constituency work during their term of office and account to their constituencies on the work they are doing in Parliament. The Constituency Development Fund supports the work of MPs in the 210 constituencies. The money for constituency work is annually appropriated by Parliament as part of the national budget. During their constituency visits, MPs must avail themselves to the public, help solve problems, and report back to their constituents on what is happening in Parliament. Oversight and accountability. MPs should also scrutinize the work of the executive branch of government to ensure that the executive implements the laws and policies of the country responsibly and correctly. MPs use various mechanisms to hold government ministers and the president accountable. These include regular questions which members of the executive must respond to in Parliament. MPs also sit on parliamentary committees that oversee the work and spending of government departments. Debates. MPs participate in parliamentary debates, which are usually made public through the media. This helps to inform and instruct citizens about government policy and important current political issues. 2. Elected representatives on provincial level. The Constitution of Zimbabwe requires the election of representatives that sit in each of the 8 provincial councils and 2 metropolitan councils. But at the time when this video was made, 2022, these councils had not yet been established. Once they are established, the number of representatives in these councils will differ across the 10 provinces depending on how many mayors and chairpersons from local government each province has. We explain this aspect in more detail in our Civics Academy video, How Does the Electoral System Work in Zimbabwe? 3. Elected representatives on local level. Zimbabwe also has elected representatives at the local level of government called councillors. Currently, we only have ward councillors who are elected to represent specific wards and are accountable directly to the people living in that area. But the Constitution has now opened the door for councillors elected through the proportional representation or PR system. These PR councillors, who may only be women, are elected through their political parties. 4. Accountability of MPs and councillors. As elected representatives, all MPs and councillors must act in the public interest and are accountable to the citizens. They are in powerful positions and can influence important laws and decisions that affect millions of people. There may be times when their personal or business interests conflict with their ability to look after the public interest. All elected representatives at national, provincial, and local level must record their personal business and outside interests in a public register so that citizens can monitor any unethical or corrupt behavior. Summary. Zimbabwe has 3 types of elected representatives: MPs on national level and councillors on provincial and local level. They must act in the public interest and are accountable to the citizens. You can find out who your party MP is in your area and contact them about issues that affect you. You must contact parliamentary MPs for national issues and your local councillor for concerns that relate to your local authority.